Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, let me tell you something embarrassing. Last Tuesday, I was so stressed before a school board meeting that I basically hyperventilated in the parking lot. And my daughter, bless her heart, looked at me and said, "Mom, just breathe." And I thought, I am breathing. That's the whole problem.
Right, and that's actually the crux of everything we're covering today. Because just breathe is possibly the most underexplained piece of advice in the history of wellness. How you breathe, it turns out, matters enormously more than how much you breathe.
Which sounds backwards, right? More breathing, more oxygen, better everything. That's what I always assumed.
Completely counterintuitive. And today we're unpacking the science of breathing patterns, specifically CO2 tolerance, and why it might be the most underrated lever you have for stress resilience and metabolic efficiency. Buckle in.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, because when I first heard CO2 tolerance, I thought, isn't that just pollution? Like, why would I want more carbon dioxide?
Right, here's what I've learned, and it genuinely surprised me. CO2 is not just a waste gas. It actually plays a critical role in regulating how your red blood cells release oxygen to your tissues. The mechanism is called the Bohr effect, named after the Danish physiologist Christian Bohr, documented back in 1904.
So the CO2 is like the delivery driver for oxygen?
That's a brilliant way to put it. Without adequate CO2 in the blood, oxygen clings to hemoglobin instead of releasing into your muscles and brain. So you can be breathing plenty of air and still be functionally under-oxygenating your tissues.
Which is wild, because that's exactly what was happening in that parking lot. I was breathing more and feeling worse.
Precisely. What you experienced is classic hyperventilation or overbreathing. You were expelling CO2 faster than your body could produce it. Research published in the journal Respirology has shown that chronic overbreathing is far more common than people realize, especially among anxious, high-stress individuals.
Here's the thing, though. This isn't just an anxiety thing, right? I know some listeners are thinking, okay, great. I'm not an anxious person. This doesn't apply to me.
Fair point. Research from the Buteyko Institute and work by physiologist Patrick McKeown, author of The Oxygen Advantage, suggests that habitual mouth breathing and upper chest breathing patterns affect an enormous portion of the population. Athletes, office workers, aging adults, all of them.
And speaking of Patrick McKeown, I've actually been doing some of his exercises for about 3 weeks now, and the difference in my sleep quality has been almost suspicious, like too good.
Ha! Well, that tracks with the data. The nose, as McKeown and others emphasize, is not optional breathing hardware. It filters, humidifies, and adds nitric oxide to the inhaled air. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator, meaning it helps open blood vessels and improves oxygen uptake.
Y'all, your nose is doing all of that and you've been ignoring it. I felt genuinely apologetic to my own face when I learned this.
And this brings us to CO2 tolerance specifically. Your tolerance for CO2, meaning how comfortable your body is with rising CO2 levels before triggering the urge to breathe, is actually trainable. The original framework comes largely from Ukrainian physician Konstantin Buteyko, who developed his method in the 1950s and 60s.
And here's where I had some initial friction with this, because the Buteyko method sounds a bit fringe at first glance. I was skeptical.
As was I, honestly. But a 2021 review published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine looked at breathing retraining interventions and found meaningful improvements in respiratory function, anxiety markers, and even cardiovascular indicators. It's not fringe, it's just under-discussed in mainstream wellness.
So what actually happens when you improve your CO2 tolerance? Like, spell it out for someone driving to the school pickup line right now.
Good framing. 3 things, practically speaking. First, your stress response becomes less reactive. The urge to panic breathe during a tense moment decreases. Second, your sleep tends to stabilize because you're less likely to experience the micro-arousals caused by disordered breathing. Third, physical endurance improves because your muscles are getting oxygen more efficiently.
And that middle one, the sleep piece, that's huge for our audience. Because whether you're a sandwich generation parent running on empty or a pre-retiree whose sleep has just gotten thinner with age, that is a quality of life issue.
Completely agree. And this is where I want to cite Dr. Andrew Huberman from Stanford's Neuroscience Lab, because he's done accessible, rigorous work on this. His research and public lectures highlight what's called the physiological sigh, a double inhale through the nose followed by a long exhale, as one of the fastest ways to downregulate the nervous system.
I have used the physiological sigh in traffic multiple times. It genuinely works faster than anything else I've tried for acute stress.
Because it rapidly offloads excess CO2 and engages the parasympathetic nervous system. The exhale length is the key variable there. A longer exhale, relative to the inhale, activates the vagus nerve, which is the main highway of your rest and digest system.
Okay, this is a good moment to pause and say, if this episode is useful to you, please do like and subscribe to the Wellness Rhythm Show. It genuinely helps us keep bringing you conversations like this one. And honestly, forward it to whoever sends you just breathe texts without context.
Right, so let's get into practical implementation, because this is where I want to push back slightly on the excitement. Some of the breathwork content online, box breathing protocols, extreme breath holds, they're presented as universally safe. And I'd nuance that.
Say more, because I know our listeners are about to Google CO2 tolerance test and go down a rabbit hole.
The BOLT score, which stands for Body Oxygen Level Test, was developed by McKeown as a self-assessment for functional breathing. You take a comfortable exhale, hold, and time until the first definite urge to breathe. Under 20 seconds generally indicates room for improvement. But anyone with cardiovascular conditions, respiratory disease, or who is pregnant should consult a healthcare provider before doing structured breath hold work.
That is such an important caveat. And this is a wellness show, not a medical clinic. We're talking about building a healthier habit, not treating a condition.
Exactly right. For most healthy adults, though, the entry-level practice is remarkably low risk. Simply shifting from mouth breathing to nasal breathing throughout the day and extending your exhale to roughly twice the length of your inhale creates meaningful physiological change over time.
Here's the thing, though. Nasal breathing while exercising is hard at first. I tried it on a run and felt like I was wearing a very small scarf around my airways.
That discomfort is the CO2 tolerance building. Your body is recalibrating what it considers a crisis. James Nestor, who wrote the book Breath, spent time with researchers at Stanford documenting exactly this adaptation. The initial discomfort passes within a few weeks of consistent nasal-only exercise breathing for most people.
And Nestor's book, honestly, is where I fell down this rabbit hole originally. He is a science journalist, not a practitioner, but the research he synthesizes from people like Dr. Jayakar Nayak at Stanford is legitimately compelling.
Agreed. And one more practical note for our listeners across different life stages. For older adults especially, the relationship between breathing patterns and blood pressure is particularly relevant. A 2019 study in the American Journal of Physiology showed that slow-paced breathing at about 5 to 6 breaths per minute significantly reduced systolic blood pressure. That is a meaningful non-pharmacological tool.
5 to 6 breaths per minute sounds incredibly slow. I probably average like 15 to 20 without thinking.
Most people do. The clinical term for that slow rhythm is resonance frequency breathing, and it's associated with improved heart rate variability, which is one of the more reliable markers of resilience to stress that we currently have.
Y'all, we have genuinely just scratched the surface here. CO2 tolerance connects to sleep, to anxiety, to cardiovascular health, to athletic performance. It's one of those topics where the deeper you go, the more it ties together.
Right. So if you're taking one thing from today, let it be this. Your exhale is your most powerful tool. Longer exhales through the nose when possible, consistently, will begin to shift your CO2 tolerance and your stress resilience in ways that are measurable and real.
And honestly, it costs nothing. No supplement, no equipment, no app subscription, just your own nose and a little patience with the discomfort as your body recalibrates. That is the kind of wellness I can get behind.
Start with 2 minutes of 5-count inhale, 10-count exhale before bed tonight. That is a genuinely low bar with a meaningful ceiling.
Y'all, thanks for spending this time with us on the Wellness Rhythm Show. If this landed for you, please like and subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear more than just breathe. We will see you in the next one.
And do try not to hyperventilate in any parking lots in the meantime.
This show is part of the VoxCrea.AI system. If you want a show like this for your organization without building it yourself,
go to VoxCrea.AI and request a sample episode.